Do you want your shitty Pro Controller to be like Joy-Cons and fit on the sides of your Switch? Well, have I got news for you. All it takes is one easy step. You get a knife and you put it to the controller. What? Look at that! It's the Hori Split Pad Pro! Whoa! Well, from that intro bit and, the thumbnail and the title, you can tell I'm going to make a review on the Hori Split Pad Pro. As a very general overview, the Hori Split Pad Pro, from now on known as the Split Pad, is a very good controller. It has some very good pros, but its cons are very noticeable. And I'll just give a good review and compare it to the other more common controllers, and if it's worth the 99 AED. To start, I think the most noticeable pro is the split in the name of the split pad. The controller has the design of the Nintendo Pro Controller, but can be placed on the sides of your Switch, perfect for a portable mode player who doesn't dock their Switch very much. This is a massive pro, as the split pad cannot run out of battery because it sticks to the sides of your Switch, and also means you don't need to carry around an extra controller for yourself when playing Smash or Street Fighter on the bus, and you don't want to destroy the delicate little C-sticks on the Joy-Cons. The next strong pro is the programmable FL and FR buttons. The FL button allows you to program any button on the left controller to that button. Say your tool ring by programming up on the D-pad in Animal Crossing to the FL button, or shield in Smash so you can reach it with your pinky on the back of the controller instead of having your fingers on R in a weird claw position. For me, personally, FL goes fairly underused. It's mainly because of the lack of high-use buttons on the left controller, as it's mainly used for the left stick for movement in almost every game, which cannot be bound to the FL button. But FR goes much more used than its relatively underused brother. You can bind it to A, B, X, Y, R, and ZR. This is the same amount of buttons on the left controller because of the D-pad, but these buttons go much more utilized than the D-pad. Say you're playing Mario Maker but don't want to hold down Y and B with your thumb so you can sprint and jump. So you bind one to FR and are now capable of using your pinky or ring finger to sprint or jump, and use your thumb for the other on the front of the controller. But my final tip with the programmable buttons applies to the next pro. The second last pro is the built-in turbo function. What it lets you do is bind a button to the turbo function, and there are 3 settings: on, inverse, and off. Most often, I play with the function set to on. What this does is when you hold down the button that is bound to the turbo, the LED above the turbo will start flickering. This is the speed the button is virtually being pressed. You can change the speed by holding down the turbo button and pressing up or down on the stick on the side of that turbo button you're holding down. Up speeding it up, down slowing it down. Inverse does the opposite of on. The button will always be pressed unless you're holding down the button. This is helpful in case you want to leave your Switch running and go do something while you have the turbo on. The final mode, off, just disables the turbo feature. You have to rebind the button back when turning it back on. What I do is, for say Animal Crossing, is program A to FR and then also set A to the turbo function. So when I'm doing more precise regular A presses, I use FR, but when I want to speed through a menu, say with Blathers or Orville, I can just use the turbo and hold down the A button to get through the menu. The turbo feature is also very useful for RPGs. when you and the enemy are dealing hardly any damage to each other, so you set it to inverse and can leave for a bit. And when you come back, the fight will probably be over. Or you could die because they critical you and you didn't heal because you were making a sandwich. And no, I'm not salty. The final pro is, it just looks cool. Even if you don't like Daemon X Machina, the black and red looks sleek as hell, and the X from Daemon X Machina looks really cool just because it's replacing the regular X button, which isn't done very often. Now, I won't like this part, but for all the pros, the cons are really bad for the split pad. But I'll start with the small ones and then talk about the big ones. Now, when starting up the split pad, there was a small issue I encountered, where what happened is I tapped right on the stick, and even though the stick returned to the original position, it kept repeatedly moving me right. I would send the stick in other directions, say up or left, but it would continue to move me right even after I released the stick. It happened again later on, but this time with up instead of right. But it's a pretty easy fix by just removing the left split pad controller and placing it back on the Switch. Why this happens, I'm not sure. It might be hardware, it may just be a fault in mine specifically. It may not be a problem with the actual controller, but it happened to me, so I thought I should bring it up. You may have noticed that I always referred to the split pad as a portable mode controller, and that's because it is. The split pad has minimal, if not no, Bluetooth at all, and cannot pair with the Switch outside of portable mode. This means it has to be used in portable mode and not in docked or tabletop. It also makes it incompatible with the Switch Lite, and also means you cannot play games like 1-2 Switch or Super Mario Party. But also because they cannot be detached, they are always draining the battery from the Switch, which can chew through your battery much faster than Joy-Cons, which you can detach and has its own battery. This con is the biggest reason why I wouldn't recommend someone this controller if they use their dock a lot, as the controller would go basically unused, and when it's placed in the dock, it makes the Switch look way too wide and bulky, and makes the dock look fairly ugly. So, linking it all back, would I recommend this controller? It would really depend if the player preferred docked or handheld mode. A year ago, when I only used handheld, this controller would have been a godsend, but now that I've set up a monitor, this controller is often unused unless I'm playing an RPG for the reason I mentioned earlier. Otherwise, I like the controller, but I would honestly have to recommend just a regular wireless Pro Controller, because even if you play portable, it is hell to carry around as it doesn't fit in most cases, and will require a little box or bag. And you might as well just bring a wireless Pro Controller because it won't drain the charge from the Switch and can play local multiplayer. But if you play online handheld a lot just alone, then go right ahead. It's a great controller and would likely very well fit your playstyle. Just sadly doesn't fit everyone's. Or to rate this controller, probably give it maybe a 5 or a 6. It's a good controller overall, but that lack of Bluetooth support really, really brings it down. See ya.